Once upon a time in the heart of a quiet, gated community stood a mansion that most people only ever dreamed about, a place filled with marble floors, glass walls, crystal chandeliers, and the echo of wealth in every corner, and inside that house lived a woman named Cassandra who had built her empire from nothing but determination, sleepless nights, and an iron will to succeed, and though the world called her a millionaire, a queen of business, and a visionary leader, at home she was simply a mother to two little twin boys, Adam and Aiden, whose laughter was the only sound that could soften the steel in her voice, and while she loved them deeply, she often found herself away from home, traveling between meetings, signing contracts, and attending events that seemed more important in the moment than bedtime stories or little hands tugging at her suit jacket. But fate has a way of reminding even the strongest souls where true treasures lie, and it was on one ordinary weekday afternoon that Cassandra's life began to change in ways she could never have predicted, for she came home earlier than expected, her heels clicking against the stone path that led to the grand glass doors of her estate, and as she approached, she noticed something unusual. There was no sound of cartoons playing inside, no giggling from the playroom, no chatter from the staff. Instead she heard a soft murmur, almost like chanting, and curiosity guided her steps around the corner of the house, where her eyes landed on a scene that nearly brought her to tears, for there on the cool stone patio, surrounded by scattered autumn leaves and fading daylight, were two sons kneeling with their small hands pressed together, eyes closed in prayer, and beside them knelt not a tutor, not a nanny, but the gardener, a man named Gabriel, who wore worn-out boots, a simple dark shirt, and a tool belt slung low on his waist, his rough hands also folded in prayer, his head bowed with sincerity so deep it seemed the heavens themselves leaned in to listen, and Cassandra froze at the doorway, clutching her handbag tighter, her perfectly tailored suit suddenly feeling like armor too heavy for her body, because in that moment she realized her children were learning something she had never taken the time to teach them, something no amount of wealth could buy: gratitude, humility, and faith. And as she watched, Gabriel's calm voice guided the boys through words simple yet powerful, thanking God not for toys, not for riches, not for the mansion around them, but for the air in their lungs, the food on their table, the love in their family, and the chance to live another day. And Adam's small voice repeated, "Thank you, Lord, for Mommy and Daddy," while Aiden whispered, "Thank you for Mr. Gabriel teaching us," and Cassandra felt her throat tighten as tears threatened to spill, because in her relentless pursuit of success she had forgotten the simplest blessings. And here was the gardener, the man most invisible in her world of high society, planting seeds in her children's hearts that no private school curriculum could match. And when the prayer ended, the boys looked up at Gabriel with eyes wide with admiration, asking if they could learn more tomorrow, and Gabriel smiled humbly, telling them that gratitude was something to practice every day, that even the richest man alive had nothing if he did not carry thankfulness in his heart. And just then Cassandra stepped forward, her heels clicking against the stone, and the children turned with excitement, rushing to her, wrapping their small arms around her legs, exclaiming, "Mommy, Mommy, we prayed today, Mr. Gabriel showed us," and Cassandra, though normally composed and sharp-tongued, could only kneel down and hug them tightly, her eyes glistening as she whispered that she was proud of them, but her gaze drifted over their heads to Gabriel, who now stood awkwardly, almost apologetic, brushing dirt off his hands as if preparing to be scolded for overstepping. And for a moment the air hung heavy with silence, the kind where worlds collide, the world of a millionaire used to control, order, and schedules, and the world of a humble gardener who worked with soil and seeds, believing in patience, faith, and the unseen growth beneath the ground. And Cassandra's lips parted to speak, though her voice trembled as she admitted she had never thought to teach her children the value of pausing, of thanking, of being still, and she realized that perhaps she had been so busy giving them everything money could buy that she had failed to give them the one thing they truly needed. And Gabriel, sensing her struggle, simply nodded and said that children were like gardens, needing not just sunlight and water, but love, faith, and guidance to bloom. And those words struck Cassandra harder than any boardroom negotiation ever had. And that night as she tucked her boys into bed, listening to them whisper another small prayer, she found herself on her knees beside them, repeating softly, "Thank you, Lord, not just for her wealth or her empire, but for the lesson she had nearly missed, for the gardener who had reminded her what mattered most." And though she did not yet know it, this was only the beginning. For her early return home had opened a door to a transformation that would change not only her family but her very soul, a story of humility, rediscovery, and the power of gratitude planted in the most unexpected soil. And as the first chapter of this journey closed, a new one was quietly waiting to begin, a chapter where Cassandra would face truths she had long buried, where the gardener's simple wisdom would unravel her walls of pride, and where her children would grow not only under her protection but under the light of faith, shaping a legacy no fortune could ever replace. And if you've been touched by this first chapter, dear listener, then don't forget to subscribe. to our channel, because the second chapter of this story will take you even deeper into the heart of what it means to be truly rich, and trust me, you won't want to miss it.